universe is a master of hiding its greatest secrets in plain sight, scattered across the infinite darkness of space. But sometimes, to understand the mathematical perfection of the cosmos, you don't look up at the stars. You look down into the abyss. In the spring of 1901, a group of Greek sponge divers was sheltering from a massive storm near the tiny island of Antikythera. Diving 45 meters below the surface, they didn't just find sea sponges. They stumbled upon a hidden time capsule of antiquity. It was a massive Roman merchant vessel, resting silently on the sea floor, preserved in the cold, dark water for over 2 millennia. Among beautifully carved marble statues and luxury goods, they pulled up a crusty, calcified lump of green bronze. It was roughly the size of a shoebox, and frankly, to the untrained eye, it looked like a piece of ancient garbage. For months, this unassuming block sat in an Athens museum courtyard, completely ignored by the world's top historians and archaeologists, until one day, the dry museum air caused the calcified rock to split open. And what it revealed sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Peeking through the millennia of ocean corrosion were precision-cut, interlocking bronze gears with tiny triangular teeth. Wait, gears? In ancient Greece? Radiocarbon and epigraphic dating confirmed this artifact was built around 150 BC. At that time, humanity was supposed to be centuries away from inventing anything more complex than a basic wooden pulley or a water wheel. Discovering this level of mechanical perfection in a 2,000-year-old shipwreck completely shatters our timeline of human technology. To put this anomaly into perspective, it is literally the equivalent of archaeologists finding a fully functional jet engine buried inside the tomb of King Tut. Because this wasn't just a fancy toy. It was the Antikythera Mechanism, the world's very first analog computer, built to track the entire cosmos. For over a century, the Antikythera Mechanism remained an enigmatic, unsolvable puzzle. Its true inner workings were hopelessly locked inside 82 separate fragments of corroded bronze. Researchers were stuck. They couldn't just split the stone open to see inside. That would irreversibly damage the most valuable scientific artifact on planet Earth. To solve an ancient mystery, they needed cutting-edge modern physics. So in the year 2006, an international team brought the cosmos into the lab. An experimental 8-ton X-ray microfocus CT scanner was custom-built by a tech company in the UK and carefully transported all the way to the Athens Museum. Normally, this kind of extreme machinery was designed to find microscopic cracks in modern airplane turbine blades, but today, it was hunting for ancient ghosts. The powerful X-rays sliced right through the calcified rock, virtually and non-destructively peeling back 2 millennia of brutal oceanic decay, layer by invisible layer. When the data rendered on the computer screens, the high-resolution 3D images they captured were absolutely breathtaking, silencing everyone in the control room. Hidden deep inside those 82 battered stone fragments, scientists identified the clear remnants of at least 37 precisely cut, interlocking bronze gears. This wasn't primitive blacksmithing. Some of these gears were smaller than a coin, packed together with tolerances mimicking the inside of a luxury Swiss watch. But the X-rays revealed something even better than gears. They discovered thousands of tiny, perfectly engraved Greek letters hidden on the internal metal plates. This mind-blowing artifact wasn't just a silent machine. It actually came with a built-in user manual, hidden safely inside the mechanics themselves. It is quite literally the equivalent of finding an IKEA instruction manual for a spaceship, except it's completely written in ancient Greek text. By painstakingly analyzing the text and digitally reassembling the mathematical ratios of the gear teeth, the team finally decoded its primary function. This device wasn't a clock for telling the hours of the day. It was a cosmic calculator designed to track the intricate dance of the heavens. By simply turning a small hand crank on the side, an ancient Greek operator could literally fast-forward or rewind the entire visible universe. To truly understand the Antikythera Mechanism, you first have to look at the universe through the eyes of an ancient Greek astronomer. In their minds, the Earth didn't move. It sat completely still at the exact center of a perfect, spherical, and highly ordered cosmos. Of course, we now know that's wrong. But mathematically, tracking the sky from a stationary perspective is an incredibly complex geometric nightmare. The majestic front dial of the mechanism beautifully illustrates this geocentric perspective. It was designed to track the sun and moon through the zodiac, but keeping track of time is incredibly complicated, mainly because the universe absolutely refuses to deal in neat, clean whole numbers. Think about it. A solar year is roughly 365.24 days long. A lunar month is about 29.5 days. Because these astronomical numbers don't match up cleanly, any basic calendar quickly falls completely out of sync, giving you winter snow during the summer harvest. To fix this monumental problem, the Antikythera Mechanism utilized a brilliant mathematical shortcut known to ancient astronomers as the Metonic cycle. The ancient scholars figured out that exactly 19 Earth solar years equals almost precisely 235 full lunar months. By precisely cutting a master gear with exactly 235 tiny teeth, they physically embedded this cosmic ratio right into the bronze. As the operator turned the hand crank, pointers on the back spiral dials tracked this 19-year calendar cycle with absolutely astonishing mechanical precision. But it wasn't just predicting where the moon would roughly be in the sky. It was predicting the exact phase of the moon on any given future date. A tiny sphere, half silver and half black, driven by an ingenious differential gear, physically spun directly on the dial to show the moon's current illumination. This means a simple farmer living in 100 BC could ask an astronomer exactly what the moon would look like a full decade into the future, and the machine would calculate the answer instantly, functioning as a flawless mathematical oracle of the ancient world. But as brilliant as the Metonic calendar was, the ancient Greeks faced an even more impossible astronomical hurdle: the lunar anomaly. You see, the moon does not actually orbit the Earth in a perfect, uniform circle, even though ancient philosophers desperately wanted it to. Its actual orbit is an ellipse. When the moon is closer to Earth, gravity pulls it harder, making it travel visibly faster across the night sky. When it is farther away, it slows down. This constantly changing speed is scientifically known today as Kepler's second law of planetary motion. Johannes Kepler officially figured this out mathematically in the 17th century. But somehow, the ancient Greeks mechanically solved it 1800 years earlier. To replicate this variable speed, using perfectly circular metal gears, is basically a mechanical paradox. But the Greek inventor designed something completely unheard of. They invented the ingenious pin and slot mechanism. It is a masterpiece of hidden engineering that tricks circular gears into acting like an ellipse. They took two standard bronze gears and stacked them directly on top of each other, but they slightly offset their center rotational axes. The bottom gear had a tiny metal pin sticking up, which slid perfectly into a small rectangular slot cut directly into the top gear. As the operator turned the machine, the bottom gear turned at a constant, steady speed, and the pin would slide back and forth inside the slot. Because their center points were off-axis, this sliding motion literally forced the top gear to subtly speed up and slow down during each rotation. It is an absolute masterpiece of ancient engineering. This tiny physical linkage was essentially a physical manifestation of advanced differential calculus. This tiny, hidden mechanical trick allowed the small pointer on the front dial to perfectly mimic the moon's exact acceleration and deceleration in reality. At the time it was built, absolutely no other civilization on Earth had anything even remotely close to this level of technological sophistication. It wasn't just a gear. It was a piece of metal that could literally bend time to match the harsh gravitational reality of the cosmos. While the front of the mechanism tracked the daily dance of the planets, the back dials predicted something far more dramatic to the ancient mind: eclipses. In the ancient world, the sun suddenly vanishing from the sky wasn't just a cool astronomical event. It was a profound cosmic omen. To predict these awe-inspiring moments, the Greeks utilized a massive lower spiral dial, seamlessly integrated into the back of the bronze machine. This dial visually represented the Saros cycle, a repeating astronomical period first discovered by brilliant ancient Babylonian stargazers centuries earlier. The Saros cycle lasts exactly 223 lunar months, which equates to roughly 18 years and 11 days. After this exact period, the Sun, Earth, and Moon return to almost the exact same relative geometric alignment in space. This means that if a solar or lunar eclipse happens today, a nearly identical eclipse will happen exactly one Saros cycle from now. But keeping track of 18 years of time just to predict a few minutes of darkness is an incredibly tedious task for a human. The mechanism tracked this timeline using a pointer moving along the spiral track, which was beautifully engraved with tiny, precise geometric glyphs. These glyphs acted like a cosmic schedule. They told the operator the exact month and hour an eclipse would safely occur. A tiny sigma stood for Selene, indicating a lunar eclipse. A tiny eta stood for Helios, predicting a solar eclipse. But the genius of this machine goes even deeper. It didn't just predict exactly when the sky would go dark. Modern scholars believe the mechanism also predicted the atmospheric color of the eclipse, which was absolutely vital for ancient astrological forecasting. A deep crimson moon might signal a poor harvest, while a dark grey shadow meant a completely different environmental shift to the ancients. With a few turns of a bronze crank, an ancient Greek philosopher basically held the absolute power of cosmic prophecy right in their hands. So we have the sun, the moon, and the eclipses all mathematically accounted for. But the ancient cosmos had a few more characters. To the naked eye, 5 bright wandering stars roamed the night sky: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Tracking them was the ultimate challenge for a geocentric astronomer, largely due to a bizarre visual illusion called retrograde motion. Because Earth is also moving, from our perspective, outer planets occasionally appear to stop, move backward, and then loop forward again. Imagine driving fast on a highway and passing a slower car. Against the background, the slower car momentarily looks like it is reversing. Since the Greeks believed Earth was completely stationary, they assumed the planets were literally doing complex cosmic loop-de-loops in space. Unfortunately, virtually all the front gears designed to track these 5 planets were lost to the ocean floor 2 millennia ago. For decades, scientists had absolutely no idea how the mechanism solved this complex retrograde puzzle. Until the year 2021, a team of researchers at University College London proposed a groundbreaking theoretical model to physically reconstruct the missing mechanical gears. Using microscopic clues from the X-ray scans and ancient texts, they deduced a highly complex system of nested hollow tubes. Think of a wooden nesting doll, but made of concentric bronze pipes, each turning at a mathematically distinct rate. Driven by a hidden network of epicyclic gears, these tubes brilliantly simulated the exact backward looping motion of the wandering planets. Each tube connected to a tiny, brightly colored gemstone pointer on the front dial, elegantly sweeping across the zodiac rings. This modern model proves that this artifact wasn't just a basic calendar. It was a complete, dynamic mechanical universe, an entire cosmos made of interlocking bronze, functioning flawlessly inside a wooden box no bigger than a standard dictionary. So, who actually built this ancient masterpiece? Unfortunately, the brilliant creator didn't sign their intricate bronze work. However, historians and modern astronomers have a very strong prime suspect, a legendary man named Hipparchus. Hipparchus was perhaps the greatest observational astronomer of the ancient Greek world, living and working on the beautiful island of Rhodes. He is famously known for compiling the very first comprehensive star catalogue and discovering the subtle precession of the equinoxes. But more importantly, Hipparchus was the exact philosopher who originally modeled and mathematically explained the lunar anomaly. The very same complex lunar math embedded into the bronze gears perfectly matches the theoretical mathematics Hipparchus wrote down on parchment. This strongly suggests the mechanism was either designed by him personally or built by a brilliant Rhodian workshop directly utilizing his data. But there is another fascinating clue. The names of the specific months, delicately engraved on the calendar dial, are explicitly Corinthian. This linguistic evidence points researchers toward the ancient colonies of Corinth, specifically focusing on the famous, highly advanced city of Syracuse. Syracuse was famously the home of Archimedes, the legendary mathematician and engineer who revolutionized the ancient world. While Archimedes lived generations before the mechanism was actually built, historical texts explicitly mention he crafted very similar celestial globes. Roman authors described a fascinating machine made by Archimedes that could physically replicate the complex motions of the sun, moon, and planets. This profound connection implies the Antikythera Mechanism wasn't just a random, one-of-a-kind anomaly of history. It was likely part of an entire lost, highly advanced tradition of Archimedean mechanical engineering that thrived in the ancient world. A brilliant tradition of science that was tragically swallowed by the sea and the relentless expanding march of the Roman Empire. The sinking of the Antikythera ship wasn't just the tragic loss of a single, beautiful astronomical calculator. It represents one of the most profound what-if scenarios in the entire history of human civilization and technological evolution. After the eventual decline of the Greco-Roman world, the vast knowledge required to build complex differential gears completely vanished from Europe. Humanity essentially forgot how to make a precision machine like this for over 1,500 years. It wasn't until the 14th century that comparable mechanical clockwork finally reappeared, ticking away inside towering European cathedrals. But what if that ship had safely reached its destination? What if this incredible technology had survived, spread, and evolved? If ancient scholars had applied this precision gearwork to industry instead of just astronomy, history might look very different today. Could the Greeks have sparked an early industrial revolution? Could they have built complex mechanical engines or even early computing devices? Would a Roman astronaut have walked on the surface of the moon by the year 1000 AD? While it is purely a fun scientific speculation, it reminds us how incredibly fragile human progress and civilization truly are. Knowledge is not guaranteed to move forward in a straight line. It can be easily lost to time, natural disasters, or the deep ocean. The Antikythera Mechanism is essentially a ghost of a spectacular, highly advanced future that never actually got to happen. It sits peacefully in an Athens museum today, no longer calculating the phases of the moon or the complex paths of the planets. Instead, it measures something far more valuable. It measures the absolute, boundless, and awe-inspiring potential of the human mind. And it reminds us to never stop looking up and to never stop building. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.